GTR. No, it's not.
What's up guys, Dakota here, and welcome back to the Driven Mad channel. So in today's video, I thought we would talk about some of the things that I love about my Gen 3 Raptor. Some of them are going to be pretty obvious, some of them are going to be kind of smaller, minute things, but I figured it'd be kind of cool to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the overall looks of the Raptor. Compared to a regular F-150, so much of this truck is different that it just gives it a completely different presence on the road and stance. I mean, obviously, the hood is different, the grille is different, the lighting is different, the bumper's different, fenders are different, suspension is completely bespoke to this vehicle. It doesn't have the same suspension, especially not in the rear, where there's no longer leaf springs, and it just gives the vehicle a much better presence on the road to where when you park the two next to each other, it's very obvious which one is which. The same can't be said for something like the Silverado ZR2, which I drove by one the other day, had no idea that's what it was, and I thought it was just a regular, just blue Trail Boss, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, I like the color. Then I realized, oh wait, that's a ZR2. So one of the things that I like is that you're not going to mistake a Raptor, whether it's Gen 1, Gen 2, or Gen 3, you're not going to mistake one for any other model. You're not going to mistake this for a regular Platinum F-150, or you're not going to mistake this for a Tremor F-150. Everyone knows what it is as soon as they walk up to it, which is one of the things that I like about it. All right, so one of the next things that I love about the Raptor is the paddles. Now, that might seem kind of weird, but there's a couple of reasons why I think these are just worthy of talking about. One, they feel amazing. I mean, they're magnesium, so when you kind of, they make a nice metal clinking noise. They're a good size. I mean, the truck itself is big, so these need big paddles. The actuation of them feels positive, and to be honest with you guys, the paddles on the F-150 Raptor are better than the paddles in my C8 Corvette. These feel just a bit more satisfying to use, and just while you're off-roading, when you're doing some Baja style stuff, it's nice to be able to kind of keep your hands on the wheel and control what gear you're in instead of having to move your hand down here and mess with it and have one hand on the wheel. It just makes it a lot better, and it's more fun, and it kind of adds to the drama and the theater of being in a Raptor. And I wish other vehicles would do it, such as, say, like the new Colorado ZR2, something that I'm really looking forward to. I just wish it had some paddles like the Raptor. Back outside of the vehicle, the next thing that we got to really talk about that I think which is one of the reasons why I bought this thing, is the Raptor suspension. So it's the Fox live valve shocks that are adjustable. They're electronically adjustable. They can control the damping. They've got 14 inches of travel in the front with 35s, 15 inches of travel in the rear. And what's great about this suspension is it can go from being your comfortable daily driver and being just a really good road trip vehicle to just taking a bunch of massive off-road abuse and not complaining about it. And I mean, that is basically one of the biggest reasons, if you guys watched my previous video, of why I went with the Raptor versus some of its competitors, is because the suspension has been proven. You can watch it take a beating, and it just does it all day long. All right, so the next thing that I like about the Raptor is how customizable everything is, and you can tailor it to kind of how you like it. So what I mean is, you can change your steering. You got normal, comfort, sport. You also have Baja, which it won't let you switch into unless you're actually doing Baja stuff. Then for suspension, you've got normal, sport, off-road. You got exhaust, you have quiet, normal, sport, and then Baja mode. And not only that, but if you go into your other settings here, you can go to Raptor info, and you can go to Raptor status. And when you do that, it gives you everything that you can adjust in here. So it's got, the truck is in normal mode, traction control is in normal, your steering's in normal, so you can adjust all of these things and save it under your Raptor button. It knows to go to my setting. So if I wanted to have sport suspension, Baja exhaust, Baja off-road setting, I could have that. Or if I wanted to have normal suspension, Baja exhaust, comfort steering, you could do that as well. And I just like being able to tailor kind of those things to your liking, or you can just leave it all on normal and just adjust it with the mode selector. But I still like being able to customize so many different things about the truck. So one of the other things that I really enjoyed about the Raptor is just how good of a road trip vehicle it is. Now, part of that is mainly just down to it being based off of a F-150, right? Most pickup trucks are going to be good road trip vehicles. However, there are a couple of key things that the Raptor has that make it even better. So if some of you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a little bit, you guys know that being that I live in Texas, I have to drive very far to get to basically anything other than city stuff. So for example, when I took this out to Big Bend, that was a 9-hour drive, and this thing crushed it. Just to get to where I am currently was about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive as well. One of the things that I think that makes this thing such a good road trip car is being that it has the standard 36-gallon tank. Now, it's an option on some of the F-150 models, but it's standard on the Raptor, which means that you can easily go 500 miles on a tank and not really have to worry about filling up, which means you can crush those miles and get there faster instead of having to stop and fill up all the time. The next thing is, being that it has 35 standard, so good meaty sidewall, and the suspension means that it just soaks up everything. So when you're doing 80 miles an hour and you hit a bump, doesn't matter. You're in a Raptor. Who cares? And that's really nice. And then again, it just makes for just such a quiet vehicle because you're a little bit higher up. You've got more sidewall, so bumps don't affect you as much. And that suspension just soaks up everything in its normal mode. It's very soft, and it's kind of just wafts you along. It's not like a Buick LeSabre where you hit a bump and then 10 miles later you're still going like this from the bump. But it is just very, very comfortable, and it just kind of relaxes you to where you can easily do those long drives without feeling super tired. All right, so now what we're gonna do is talk about the last thing that I really love about this Raptor, and then we'll kind of wrap things up. Thing is the sound. I kind of joked at the beginning of the video about it kind of sounding like a GTR, which it does. That feels nothing else like a GTR, but the sound kind of gives you that GTR kind of rasp, which is down to the Gen 3 Raptor's kind of trombone exhaust, and it just sounds really cool. It's just kind of fun to goof around with. It's fun to open up that rear sliding window, you know, give it a couple of downshifts. And then just kind of blast through the trees like I'm doing right now. And just get a little bit of extra sound. Would the Raptor R sound better? Does the TRX sound better? Yes, of course they do. But that doesn't mean that the V6 Raptor should sound bad. So I really appreciate that they put some time and effort into just making it fun, because that's what this truck's about. It's not about being super serious. It's about blasting through the desert, having fun, jumping it, right, doing donuts. So it needs a good soundtrack. And I love that you can have it go from being super quiet and just kind of dial it up. You can have normal mode, which gives you a little bit of exhaust noise. Sport mode, which sounds pretty close to Baja mode. Baja mode just, I feel like when you come off the throttle, gives you kind of this like weird little like bark almost. It's kind of odd, but overall it's just a lot of fun. That open that back window up and then just I just kind of backfired there. Overall, I really like this truck. I think it's amazing. It's got a lot of good qualities about it. Are there some things that I don't like? Yes, and I may make a video on that as well. But overall, those are just the big things that I really enjoy about this truck. That has made me kind of just, before I bought it, you know, I was like, oh, I'm sure I'll like some of these things, and I've just grown to really, really appreciate them. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you had some fun, or maybe you learned something. And I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.